Hey Zips fans, Spencer German of the Zips Digital Network here at Style Athletics Fieldhouse, and we're just a week away from MAC championships for indoor track and field. Meanwhile, Akron Track and Field has one last home meet to get themselves ready for championship weekend. Had a chance to speak with head coach Dennis Mitchell about this weekend's Al Campbell Invitational. See what he had to say.
Well, at the Doug Raymond, it was good to see some different type of forms, some certain people step up that hadn't had a chance before. Again, we had Cassandra Romer got a big PR on the long jump, going about 20 feet 3, 20 feet 4. That was pretty huge, and so she was able to really stand out in terms of that meet. Again, superstar. We've got Pacoho, who is just, again, she comes in and wins the triple jump. That's the first time she's done that season, so we were really happy with Jackie there doing that. We had some individuals that kind of showed up in some of the other races as well, in the 200 and in the 800 and onward. So it was a good meet. We had some people we had to pull out, some people were able to move up, and we saw still quite a few PRs, and it was exciting to be part of all that. But of course, we're a lot more excited about being at home again this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about that a little bit. The Al Campbell Invitational coming up this weekend right here at home for you guys. What are some of the goals that your team has for this weekend? Back at home, last home meet, as you sort of turn your attention towards MAC then, what are some of the goals that your athletes are setting?
Well, we're trying to get ready for MAC. We're trying to put ourselves in the best position to be ready to score the points needed to try and win a MAC championships for both men and women. So we're looking at athletes, putting them in events that maybe we need to see what they can do, to see if we need to enter in those events. Also, some of them need to get their marks up just a little bit more so they can be in the meet, and some need that extra meet to try and get them better prepared physically and mentally and technically so they can do well at this meet. So that's our goal. Number one, make sure that we're ready for the MAC championships, that we come out of this stronger and better, and most of all, healthy.
And then I guess off of that a little bit more, just how do your athletes use this kind of as like a tune-up for getting ready for that MAC tournament, or the MAC championships rather? How do they kind of approach their races? How do they approach their events knowing, hey, this is my last chance before that big meet where we obviously want to try to, especially for the men, retain the title from last year?
Well, it's any way they'd handle any meet, but what they need to get is that kind of focus on being competitive. Sometimes we get focused a lot on marks, and marks are extremely important in our sport, but it still comes down to competing and learning how in competitive situations to really put on the line, deal with those nerves, deal with that excitement, because the marks are going to take care of themselves if you're extremely competitive and you try to put yourself in a race or an event and try to put yourself in a position where you win or place very high. And so that's always our focus with that, and that's what's important about these meets. It's still about making sure you know how to compete against another person.
I guess just the last thing, you've had a chance to now host, I think this is your fourth meet at home this year. Just overall thoughts on how this year's gone, given the COVID situation. I think it's gone pretty smoothly for you guys, but just what has your overall impression been on your guys' ability to put on meets this year at home? And obviously you've hosted 4, so it's gone pretty well, I think.
Well, I've been extremely pleased. We had, we were pretty strict there at the beginning and all the way through, and we've tried to make sure we do the very best possible job we can to make sure everybody comes out. We didn't want to take a single chance whatsoever. We wanted to make sure that we can prove that we can put on good meets, good events, and to be able to do them in a healthy way. Our staff here, the Fieldhouse staff, did a phenomenal job with that. They really came through, and they continue to come through with ideas and proposals to help us do that. And as a result, we've been able to put on a lot of meets. But just giving our kids that chance, and and I always look at it this way. As we look through this pandemic, I think a great lesson we've had to learn is, it's not that we can always maybe fight the disease all the time, and we can't break its rules. We can only work with it and find a way to work around it where we can do things in a healthy way and do things right. And if everybody goes along and follow those procedures like all these teams have done and their athletes, then we all can be safe and healthy, and we can eventually get ourselves back to normal again.
The Al Campbell Invitational gets rolling around 5 p.m. on Friday, and as always, you can watch the action live via the Zips Digital Network web stream. Simply head over to gozips.com, click on that track and field schedule. There's a watch link on there for you. And of course, you can follow along with all things Akron track and field over at gozips.com as well. That's all for now. Until next time, go Zips.